Hello and welcome to our weekly chat here about Big Brother and all the ins and outs of what they're doing over there backstabbing. It started, or I guess it's continuing. But what'd you guys think?
Me.
Super surprising double eviction.
Predictable. Don't like the outcome, of course, but I mean, I knew Tiffany was going. That wasn't a surprise. Even when she thought she might be able to talk her way out of it, I knew she wouldn't. But I'm bummed out about Hannah going. I'm pretty bummed
Tiffany
out.
was inevitable.
Yeah.
Once she put Claire up, it was going to happen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because she was her safety. I mean, and I think that even a couple of weeks, maybe two weeks before that, even 3 weeks before that, we started to talk about how is Tiffany going to be able to make it all the way to the end? Like, they're going to cut her at some point. They're not going to let her get to the end. I think my biggest disappointment about her not getting to the end, I mean, other than we like her and she was a favorite, is that okay, let me just put it out there. I don't really care that Xavier's going to make it into final 2. I don't. He's played and he's unleashing all of his competition abilities. So good for him. If that's what you got to do to win, you're doing it. You know, Kyland I have some serious issues with because his personality is monstrous, and I'm really disappointed because I really liked him at the beginning. But this last the last couple of weeks, it's just tangled into worse and worse of a thing. But my big problem with Tiffany not getting it is not because she's my favorite. It's because the reason why they're cutting her and the rationale that they're telling themselves, it's driving me crazy. They're not cutting her because she's a threat. They are. They are. They're
but they can't admit it.
But they won't just say it. Just say it. She's too big of a threat. She's got to go. Because if, in my eyes, there's 2 reasons for that. One, just giving your competitor that respect. That they blow all this smoke up everyone's about. I'm sorry, you got to put you up here because you're way too big of a competition.
And they say that to people who aren't even,
right.
But then when they really are, you're like, they can't say it.
Exactly. So give her that credit as your competitor, 1. But 2, it's good for your game because you got the hardest, the hardest worker, the top player in that house out. That's like the shining gold sticker on your resume at the final 2. I'm the one who got her out. So it's 2 reasons that it's just driving me nuts. And I mean, whatever, you're not going to use it to your benefit.
And they couldn't even give her the benefit. They couldn't even give her she came up with the master plan to get all 6 of them to the end. Yeah. So they could, you know what I mean? That they can't even give that. And the fact that they'll take D and pretend that he somehow has played this game when he's literally done nothing. But they're going to get rid of Tiffany because they've been carrying the girls.
Oh, Kyland,
we can't say that about Azah anymore, though.
No,
Azah's now won something.
Yes,
she won and then immediately shot herself right in the foot.
She totally.
There was no winning in her in that setup.
No,
yes, there was.
Here's the thing.
Tell me how she wins that.
This is how that works out for her. She keeps Hannah safe. Let's say she did whatever she needed to do to keep Hannah safe. Now she's got Hannah as an ally when there's going to be 4 of them left in the house. So that means Azah and Hannah are allied. DF is if DF is the one that's left there, she still kind of has an ally with him.
Well, she believes she does.
Out with him.
She thinks she is.
I really meant for this week, what we just watched. Okay, so let's say she put up X and Kyland.
Okay.
Okay, and one of them wins veto.
Okay.
And comes down. Right? So then she's going to put up Derek, and Derek's going to go home.
So?
And how then that translates? It's still
the
2
ally
comp beasts against.
No, the ally she still has in the house has an actual chance of winning something. DF isn't going to win anything for her. If she gets put on the block, there will be no veto won by DF that takes Azah off the block, period.
And for that veto that they were doing for that, the way that DF kept laughing during it,
that was pretty funny.
I thought was so. I mean, they're funny, but people are playing for their lives right now in the game.
Yeah,
he didn't care.
She's like got him.
He did not.
Well, didn't he?
He did not care about winning. He was not trying.
But
he was laughing.
But he had 5 or 6 points.
Nope, he had 3.
Really?
3.
Yeah, he wasn't rocking it.
Or maybe he had 4. He might, but
he wasn't like killing it. But yeah,
it's very distracting when you're trying to listen and someone's over there laughing before they've even said what was the word.
Isn't it like the perfect viewscape of his game in general? I mean, it literally is like everyone's over here sweating bullets, and he's like,
yeah. And I don't know, that would seriously tick me off if I was them.
It might. I feel awful for Hannah because she knew that she was going to have a struggle. But I mean, like, okay, going into this double, like, we knew this. In order for Hannah to stay, to make it through this, she was going to have to win HOH and veto, or she was going to at least have to win her own veto.
Yes.
Like, there's no way around this for her. She was backed in a corner. It was a bad situation. Azah was the one hope that she had. And I will be honest with you. Azah has been saying, I'm fine with 4th place for a month now. Literally, those are her words. I'm fine with 4th place.
Okay, and
she does not care. She does.
So why hasn't Kylan got rid of somebody like that then? If he's so about playing with the best, why is she still there? Why exactly?
Because he's not.
It's
not
not
about playing with the best. I want to play Tiffany is the best. He knows Tiffany was the best.
Well,
I mean he's making a case for himself.
Xavier's played a stronger game than Tiffany.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna read this out like this. Okay, here's where Tiffany, all of the beats that Tiffany hit got missed, and where the woman needs the credit, where the credit is due. It's not just like, oh, we love her because her personality is great and so on. Where her credit is actually due, the moves that she made. There were a couple that were loud and in front where we could easily see what was happening, or that was thrown in her editing reel. But I have these written down thanks to another podcast person who spends hours and hours and hours and hours and hours watching the feed. So we've got a list here. Okay, 1, she really was the head person who created the cookout. They all kind of came and started talking together, but she's the one who formulated the plan to make the alliance. She is the one who actively created the pairs. She paired everybody with their other person. She picked the pairs. You go with this person, you go with this person, you go with this person. Let's see. She gained Claire not just as an ally, but she got Claire doing all of the work that she couldn't do for the cookout. So Claire was doing stuff for the cookout on Tiffany's behalf. Then on top of that, she was the one who exposed Kai and Sarah Beth's secret pairing because that wasn't out in the open to begin with. So she kind of brought that into the light and was like, well, then you better use this. Let's see. She's the one who got all of the targets put on the slaughterhouse. This was all by her suggestion. When Kai was able to disassemble the royal flush, she was the one who was able to guard all of the non-cookout members from finding out Kai's connection to the cookout. So they all were digging on Kai, and she was the one who jumped in as buffer and protected Kai for 2 weeks straight from the aftermath of that whole craziness. And then, even after she made one fatal mistake in a split second that still didn't affect the cookout getting to the final 6, she still protected Kai and the cookout when the writing was on the wall, and she knew she had a chance in this game if she kept Claire, but if she got rid of Claire, she was toast. And she kept her loyalty. And the whole time it's, she's not loyal, she's not loyal, she's not loyal, she's not
I can't trust her.
That's what makes me crazy.
But again, if she was gonna be the HOH, you have to make that move.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I can't.
Otherwise, you've angered everybody for no discernible purpose.
I can't argue that Tiffany. But here's the thing: I think Tiffany's number one flaw in this entire game. Okay, her top 2 flaws in this entire game. One was that whole choice to get rid of Claire, to stay loyal to the final 6 that she put together. But I understand that. I can understand that. She was picking her game win, or she was picking the cause. She chose the cause. She is very openly expressed, I choose this. I'll still try for this, but this is my choice. Okay. Her flaw in her game otherwise is that this is why she couldn't save her game, because I think she could have saved her game this week if she had one ability, and that would be to be a different Tiffany for each person she was campaigning to. But she can't be. So some of the best players that you see, they have a little bit of a different personality after they kind of like get to know the people they're living with. And you kind of like present that person with that personality that they're going to listen to the most. You like the things they like. You care about the things that they care about.
Well, you have to be a chameleon, right? With each person.
Exactly. Tiffany, bless her heart, is Tiffany. Period. Period. It's part of why she's so fun, but that is her biggest flaw, because if she could have got Azah, if she could have just got Azah, and she got this close, she really did. She really worked with Azah, but it was too late, because you cannot talk to somebody like Xavier and pitch to him the exact same way you're going to turn around and pitch to Azah. You cannot do it.
True.
Because Xavier, it's got to be business, facts, figures, percentiles. This is how it's going to work. This is what makes sense. And with Azah, it's here's the story we can create. This is the meaning behind all of this. This is why we would do this. And once it was kind of clear she really struggled with that, that's what I was like mostly concerned with, for exactly what this week brought up. Because when pinch came to shove, she couldn't tell Azah the story that she wanted to hear. And she couldn't get, and Kyland. Oh, Kyland. Like, they're still being real sweet. They're still being real sweet about him. I'll just say that. We can talk about that later. There's a few moments in this last week with Kyland where I was like, no, all I want is Xavier to win so bad and be like, in your face, like right at Kyland.
Well, I think he's based on the jury reaction to the film. If that's legit, he's got every vote in the jury right now.
Because Kyland's made people mad, because Kyland talks about how Tiffany wasn't loyal, but he's not loyal. Mm-mm. He's not. He's not a nice guy. He's just, I think he has good things about him. But in this game, he has not been a nice guy. And I will end my Kyland rant with this. Tiffany not understanding Kyland. That girl, like, she went around and did the apology tour all week. I'm so sorry I did this. I'm so sorry I did that. And I'm looking from she was still living in it when she was talking to Julie. You could see it, right? That's not the Tiffany you've seen on these reels, is it? She's like, I messed up my own game, and like I should have never done that. I should have gotten permission.
Well, she's been saying some of that in the house the last couple of days.
Right. But that's what I mean. She's been on the apology tour. So she's going to Big D. You and I, we had our problems, but I always thought you were so great. And I'm so sorry you got this version of me. Like, she's apologizing to everybody. For most people, they'll listen to that. Some people might follow that and be like, okay, great. But somebody like Kyland, no, because she goes to Xavier and he goes, no, you know what? Thanks for saying so. I appreciate that you recognize it. I'm glad that you can see where I'm coming from on this. I'm glad that we can see eye to eye. Those sort of things. She goes to Kyland. She's like, yeah, I just feel so badly for not running that past you before I dropped. And he's like, yeah, you really should. It was such a betrayal. In fact, it just makes me think about all the other times that you betrayed me. And he just goes on and on about and he means this. Like you cannot go to an apology to Kyle because he's so full of himself that you've just confirmed the crazy narrative that is in his head. And on top of that, a normal person, when you campaign to them, you say things like, you're the best player in the house. Right now, Xavier is dangerous, but you could be the best player in the house. If you got rid of Xavier, there's no way I could win against you, but I will protect you. I will follow you to the end. I will do whatever you need me to do. And that would work. That would work for most sane people. But Kylan's like the opposite of that. That is exactly the wrong thing to tell him.
It's like she's pumping him up and making herself weaker.
Yes, that's
right?
It's exactly what was
and
happening.
That's how he reads that. Like, oh yeah, I knew I was better than you, and you're weak. And
it was sickening. It made me feel sick to watch it. Not even with any like animosity. It was so hard to see this woman who is confident and smart and kicking butt in the game.
All that canoodling they were doing, like they hated each other, and I was like, this isn't real. This isn't real. This isn't real. And I don't think it was real for him ever. I don't think he ever. I mean, I think she may have been being legit with him. I don't know, but it was not real.
There at the end, she did tell the camera, she's like, I'm proposing this deal with Kylan. If he takes me up on this deal, I'm honoring it. Like, I will protect him as far as I can go. Blah 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 blah. She did offer a deal to X when Kylan was like, but I can't do it because Xavier's the best, and I got to be the best.
But part of that, though, that kind of promising and talking to them, don't you think is kind of feeling out where they are? Like, are they solid? Just the two of them?
Yeah, is this like a real solid?
Right. We see Kylan solid with X. Is X solid with him too? Like maybe she was trying to feel all of that out.
And there was another really great moment. Like she campaigned well. I mean, it's not like she did a bad job, but she goes to X, and she makes Kylan says no to this deal. So she goes to Kylan and she said, Kylan said no. So I'm offering you the same deal. I will protect you. She offers him everything, right?
Except she's just told him that Kylan said no. So in his mind, it's like,
but this is the part that gets hilarious.
No, Kylan, he's thinking.
This is like how bad everybody is playing and accidentally looking like they're playing really well right now. So Xavier goes in and talks to Big D and Azah, and he's like, y'all, Tiffany just offered me this deal. She said this, she said this, she said this. Did she come to you guys with the same deal? Well, Big D's like, yeah, she did. No, she didn't. But like Xavier just gave him all the information. So it's not like he could go like, did Tiffany say anything? What did she say to you? There was no like pulling out the truth, and it was just dumb. It was so dumb. So there was these little moments that honestly, I feel like Tiffany maybe could have wedged in there, but
I don't think there was a chance of that.
And you know what? I think maybe we throw all of these things to her points of her game of how she kept them. She had a plan for them. She kept them protected. She told them who their second should be and all of that. And I wonder if that planted the seeds right there that she, by stepping up and kind of making those, it kind of put her as a target probably to those guys. Like it worked. It got them all there. But that shows to them how good she is.
That's what I mean.
Like, how can they go to final two with her and have her say, yeah, you guys are all here because of my plan?
Right.
Like, come on.
Right. And again,
she has a lot of people in the jury that like her. So,
yes,
I mean.
And I can absolutely understand why they wanted to cut Tiffany.
But say that. That's a good reason. Say that. Yeah.
Yep. And the final note of Kylan of why Jamie is on the bleep you Kylan train is last night before the feeds went off, because they went off like when they closed down the backyard and started recording all these things, because this was pre-recorded. Everybody, it was not live. It was not a live eviction.
I was not hip to that.
Yeah, they were already in their hotels last night. Like Tiffany and Hannah were probably already in their hotels last night. But the last night that the feeds were going, Tiffany was like laying down, she started to fall asleep, and Kylan went over and he's like, well, do you want to come upstairs? Do you want to come into the bed? Because you're trying to get her up in there to snuggle in the bed. And she's like, no. And she's going back to sleep. And as he's going out of there, he's like, another mistake in the game. Just can't stop making mistakes in the game.
Wow.
Can you? And I was like, nope.
Wow. Now that's not cool.
You got to lose. Like, that's it. We're done. You need to lose. And he meant it. I mean, he wasn't playing or being like, we have a, twisted sense of humor. No, he was straight up like, I was going to talk about this, but apparently you don't want to, so just can't stop making mistakes in the game. So Bye. Hope Xavier wins.
But that seems like a weird thing to dangle out there when you know he wasn't going to change his mind.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Because he's toying with her. That's what I mean. He's like, it's like, he's just like, give me more about me and how awful you are and how wonderful I am. Like he's feeding on it. So I don't know. Like Xavier was being a butthurt baby last week about stuff. But other than that, I don't have issues with him. I just didn't like how
that was part of his strategy. I mean, look, he's gotten this far. He's got no blood on his hands. I think every person currently in the jury house votes for him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he looks
and
good.
So
he
how
looks
can you
good
say he
on
hasn't played
paper.
a great game? And now all of a sudden he turns on the comps and he can win anytime
And
he
that's
wants.
it right there. I don't necessarily.
Oh, and they acknowledge that.
Right. And I don't think he played a bad game at all up until this point. He did not play a bad game. He played a good game, but there was other people playing great games right there too. Yeah. But now they're gone and he's unleashing his competition abilities. He can sweep it. And you know what? We've had a lot of Big Brother winners that did exactly this. They did little things here and there that really weren't that big over impressive, but that final string of comps that they needed to win, they did it. And that's what gets them the win. Because it's fresh in everybody's mind. It's so many comps, one after another. More than anything, that I think once Tiffany is in the house and they've all had a sit down about it, I don't know if she will rally for Kyland or not. I don't know. But I think
I would hope not.
If you were to lay it out in paper, Kyland has actually physically done more in the game than Xavier has yesterday.
Well, there's no question that's true, but Xavier's going to go, I could have won anytime I wanted. I didn't.
And he could, but also the one thing that Xavier has far over Kyland is his ability to speak to people like they're human beings.
Yeah.
He can hear him out.
He's got a charisma to him.
I don't think there's anybody who doesn't like him, right?
Exactly.
Is there anybody? I mean,
no.
And they're all, and he's going to.
But there's people who said they didn't like Kyland.
They're going to laugh. They're going to think it's great.
Yeah. I mean, unless like these other guys just all of a sudden just start busting out some crazy competitions and like they can't even touch Power for the next 2 weeks. He's won the game. I mean, like he's won the game.
And for my money, he deserves it. I mean,
at this point,
he has got no blood on his hands. Nobody's mad at him. He's never made himself the center of attention. And that's some flaws in Tiffany's game. She was front and center on everything.
Yeah, that is true. Yep.
And
she was in so many discussions.
That's not the person who wins.
Right. Well, look at Tyler's a great example of that. Tyler, a few years back, he played a great game, but his hand was in every pot. And when the stories all started coming out, they were like, no.
Yeah, he's got a final two with everyone.
Right. So I think
that's where I thought.
Go ahead. Sorry.
That's where I think Hannah could have. I mean, she was playing a better game, but the look on her face tonight was it was heartbreaking.
It was so hard
because well, first of all, so it's like some sort of curse when it's your week, I guess, by the Big Brother gods, because Tiffany timed out in her veto. Timed out. Do you know? God, you just. Yep. How do you live that down? Do you know what I mean? Being angry with yourself, because like you have to do this or you're going home, and then you do worse than anyone. That sucks. Well, and then Hannah kind of does the same thing, right? When she's trying to play for her veto, and it's like,
so frustrating because if she would have just tied with those boys, her brain was made for that math.
Oh yeah.
It was made for it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I could. And like as a winning HOH, I got very excited for a minute because I was like, oh my gosh, Tiffany just went home. She's gonna realize now that she has to keep Hannah.
I know. I'm
she still thinks that she's going to marry her or something.
That's Xavier had gotten.
She's like
zero. I guarantee it.
$750,000 would make a very nice wedding.
But it wasn't Xavier that got into Azza's ear. It was Kyland.
Really?
But I'm not saying in the last 2 days. I'm saying over the last.
The game has
been in her ear.
Yeah, well, that's the
obsessive,
and
it's
Twitter
no secret she has a crush
on
him. You can tell.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, since like day one.
Right.
Yeah. But okay, can we talk about the jury segment? Because I really think the jury segment was just joy.
It was pretty good. Yeah,
I loved it.
Oh,
it was pretty good as you watch them put the pieces together and ding, ding, ding.
Yep, I liked seeing Claire again. Even Brittany was like not super obnoxious. It's like, when you're not reading lines.
And they have other people to edit comments in.
But couldn't there be more of them and less of the recap of the game we've already watched and the recap we watched at the beginning? It's like,
but that never bothers me because I don't like recaps. Well, we've talked about this. I don't like recaps on other shows. Or I don't even really like recaps in general on this show. But I do like seeing those jury members like go, okay.
Yeah, but they could have just, we know what's going to happen. So they could have kind of yada yada, and then this happened. And
I see what you're saying.
You see the reaction, but not have to watch the details of what happened again.
Or they could, instead of showing us the video of what they're watching, just have the audio playing because we know what it is as we watch their faces. Do you know what I mean?
It's just something. Yeah, exactly.
Because then it's like you're hearing it and it's like, oh, we know what's happening, and you're looking at them going,
right. You don't want to watch that same clip that we watched last week.
Yeah, because the real money is their reaction to what happened.
Right.
What happened, we already know.
Yep, can't disagree with that. That's facts. I wish that we could I don't know. Wouldn't it be great if we could have one episode though that really was just like an at the jury house episode, just to kind of see, I don't know,
or my they could put it on the
always, online. Yeah,
they could put it on the CBS Plus or whatever,
right?
Or
exactly.
whatever the heck they have.
My curiosity, I always love it on Survivor when you can watch the stuff after they get into Ponderosa and stuff. That's always so fun.
What's the first food they want to eat? What's the stuff like that? Right. What's the first thing they can't wait to do? Are they going to get online? No, I guess they can't. The first thing they want to do in the house: watch TV, read a book,
or communicate with the other players in the game, and kind of see where those because everybody is either putting on a character or not showing who they really are. All these different versions of ourselves that go into these games. So once they go into jury, the real person starts to come out because the cameras are not on them all the time. But they start to make new friendships and stuff. They think it would be interesting.
I think it's hard
there's been a lot of, I've heard past tense, a lot of really interesting drama that takes place in that jury house.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because they have things that they need closure on.
What they should do is put cameras all over the jury house, and then and have feeds in there too.
Because you're not worrying about yourself winning a game anymore. This is the real world. That's what that was. That's what that's called. They did that already, 30
But
years
you could
ago.
hear them talking game and talking about who they're inclined to vote for, because that's what they're doing.
Right.
I would think. How could you get it out of your head?
Well, that's what you have in common with the group of people you're with at that moment.
Right.
But I think if you have been acting a certain way for 2 months with these people, I think it's kind of really hard to let that reel you out if it's not out already. Do you know what I mean? Because you would just.
It might be for sure. Because that's pretty far in.
Yeah. 2 months of being this person, you might be that person now.
This is who you are now. This is just me now.
Yeah.
I loved getting to see that we were all right, but that Sarah Beth, you could hear the little waver in Sarah Beth's voice, and she's right. She's like, I understand why he had to keep it secret. I'm upset about the things he didn't have to keep secret and made lies about. The things he didn't have to lie about.
And they were all like, yes. So what do you think she was specifically?
There is a ton of stuff. It's Kyland. I'm telling you.
Okay, so what did he tell her that he didn't have to tell her?
I don't know. Just a lot of game stuff that really wasn't the thing, and promising her a bunch of stuff that she didn't need or ask for. Just
to try to make her feel more secure in their duo.
Yeah, and basically for her to admire him.
Who was it tonight that said, "Oh my gosh, I thought they hated each other."
Yeah,
right? They thought there were people in the cookout that really didn't like each other because of what they were seeing, because they didn't know.
But you want to know what? They don't like each other.
Right. That's sure, but that's why in their head they would never even consider these two people working together. That made no sense to them at all.
And I'm going to say this, and I know this isn't like some people are going to be like, yep, that's true. And other people may not like that I say it. But this is why all girl alliances rarely ever work. It's always a girl that gets rid of the girl's power, like the last chance of power. It happens so many times. The last chance the girls could take some kind of power.
Well, it actually happened.
Well,
it happened
and the crazy
twice.
thing,
Tiffany
like,
and Azah.
Yep.
What does Azah say? She says, I was all in for a girls' alliance, but then we got the cookout. Okay, girl, here's your chance.
Here's your chance.
Because like they said,
Azah too.
Here's a chance for a Black woman to win.
Right. And this is so here's Azah. This is the resume she should have for herself. The resume she should have for herself if she gets pulled to a final 2 because she looks like an easy win against, okay, is I laid low because I did not have to. I was everybody's friend. I didn't make any enemies in the house, no real enemies. I did what I was told when I was told. I made sure that all of this was squared away and none of you knew about it. And then in the end, I saw my moment to take control, and I did. She can, just like they can lie.
And I sent X home, or I sent Kylan home. Yeah,
that's the floater argument, though. We've seen it before. It almost never carries.
I think it give her credit. I think you give her a lot of credit. I'm telling you, this is what we need in the final 2. What we needed in the final 2.
I think that argument
and Azah using that as her
argument. What if we got that? I mean, just what if somehow?
Well, she can't play for HOH this week.
X takes Kai out, and then Kai gets cut by Azah or Derek some way, and it becomes Derek and Azah.
It's always a possibility. I don't
think it's going to happen. I think she's the next to go.
But that would be funny. Yeah. It really would.
It would.
That's what I mean. We saw
kind of like the New York Jets winning the Super Bowl, but
it's
not going to happen.
It's happened before where we've got 2 floaters, like literally 2 floaters in the game, just pop in at the end. They just have dumb luck at the end. But she's, like I said.
But I think if it was her and Dee at the end, she could make that argument more about how, I didn't have to. I was, because in every challenge, she's not, she doesn't draw a lot of attention to herself.
You told me to throw it, so I threw it.
But the way that Dee is like very loud about it, and you can see he's not even trying, or like that one where he took all the money and they knew he was taking the money.
And how he's been very, very vocal that there's literally no competitions this year that suits somebody his size. Like, I'm sorry, because the mental competitions are like your weight is a hindrance.
At least half of the competitions are mental.
And it made me mad too, because when they had the balance beam one that Sarah Beth won, he hauled butt.
Yeah, and
really well.
Look how good he did on the freaking comic book one. As soon as I saw that one, I was like, oh my gosh, he's not gonna do good at that.
Yeah.
Hello. He did. I felt bad. I was like, oh, okay. No, he did pretty good.
I didn't even think he was going to be able to make it on the
because that's a lot of going back around and back around and doing
I know my asthma just doesn't like watching that competition.
Watching them roll those balls and the way Azah was like afterwards, I was like, oh my God, she has to go again. This is crazy.
Like having an actual new competition, I don't remember ever seeing one like that before. So that was kind of exciting, like where they changed it up on the second half where you had to get those to stay on the grass.
Yeah, you don't have to do exactly the same thing.
Right.
Because they would have been too tired, I think, too fatigued.
But Julie was real rude about it.
Yeah, we have to roll the balls at the same time.
At the same time.
I would have died.
Almost unhinged.
But how?
If actually, do you want us to roll them at the same time? Like
I just don't understand.
Like the 9 ball.
I just don't understand. What does it prove? Are they supposed to look at each other and go, okay, 1, 2, and like I don't.
Is like not mocking Julie like part of their contract though?
Yeah.
So they can't do that. They couldn't look at her and say.
Like, are you serious? Are you messing with me right now?
Yeah.
Or like, come on, give us an eyebrow raise or something. Look right at the camera.
I'm like,
come on.
Okay. Did you guys ever get to view Claire's goodbye? I mean, I know we got to see them tonight a little bit, but did you guys get to see Claire's full interview and goodbye messages?
I did not. Please share.
Okay. I'm spending way too much time on Twitter.
It all went very much the way you would expect it to go, except for at the end. It was really awkward because Julie said, "You truly are a child of God."
What?
That's what she said. That's what she said, I swear.
Well, the whole faith thing tonight was...
Yes!
You truly are a child of God. And it's so funny because, like, Twitterverse just, like, blows up with this picture of Claire.
She got new programming this year.
From, like, a Halloween costume a few years ago where she was, I don't remember, the queen on Game of Thrones, like the whole cult that was happening, and they had that star thing on their head.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like a picture of Claire that says a child of God in her Halloween costume. So
I did not see that.
But so the whole time, like, she's like yelling at them for not throwing their ball at the same time. I'm like, okay, note to self.
And by her yelling at them, she's literally delaying it.
I'm gonna go, I'm a child of God, Julie. I'm a child of God. Like, you can't.
Like, if she would have stopped yelling at them to do it at the same time, it would have moved along faster.
Well, and it was really funny
because they were like,
what? Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm really uncomfortable now. It was nutty.
So this next HOH, I'm thinking they know Azah can't win because she just was HOH. So for the 3 guys, does anybody want to win it? Because that's not where the power is. Because that's not where the power is. The power is the person.
They're going to throw it to DF. They're going to throw it, right? They're going to throw it. They're totally going to throw it.
Because he's going to be, okay, regardless of what guy is up there, they're going to have to put one of the other guys in Azah, which leaves the other guy to be the one that votes.
Yep.
I mean,
they're throwing it. You know they're throwing it.
Because why would you want this one? No, you want to win the one after that.
Right. Because then you get that tight round there with the final 3. Yeah. I don't know.
But do they want to give D even an HOH? Maybe they don't.
All I can hope for is that if we have Xavier in the final 2, that he beats out Kyland. That's all I care about. I don't care if Kyland's in the final 2. I don't care if he goes home next week.
I think that's 100% certain.
I just want Xavier to take out Kyland. And I will imagine in my head, because I won't get to see it, imagine Tiffany pointing at Kyland and going, ha. That's all I want. That's it.
Oh, I hope she has something scathing to say in her jury question.
I know. I kept thinking maybe she would, but then I was like, she didn't do anything when she left. You know what I mean? Like her goodbye or like her.
Oh, she'll have a lot of time to sit there and plan and think.
But I figured she would say something tonight and be like, like, Kyland, I hope you enjoy second place. Something like.
Well, Hannah said it actually in the diary room. I wish Hannah would have said it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well done. Well done. You're not winning.
Right.
But maybe second place, what do they get? Do they get 250,000 or 100,000? What do they get?
Okay, I don't remember what the actual breakdown is, but this is another just kick of dirt into the face of Tiffany fans. Do you know who gets paid the most money in the show besides the winner? Top 5. Top 5. She gets like the same pretty much as the first jury member.
For her to know that Dee and Azah are going to get more money than her. Oh, that hurts.
Yeah.
I mean,
dirt in the face.
All people being equally deserving. Tiffany is a mom.
Yeah.
And, that's
to a boy named Christian, whose birthday it really was and not the other Christian.
Right.
Right? Yeah, I was
all
right.
the crappy things I said about backflipping Christian.
Oh my gosh. No, those all stand.
I'm not taking those back.
Right. But I was like, oh, that's so cute that they're all like,
I laughed when I saw
his
comic book cover. Like, I was like, oh, Flippy.
Was he the Flippinator or something?
Yeah.
Flipendo.
I feel like some of their comic book covers aren't as detailed as they used to be. I feel like it's like a very simple illustration with just their face on it now.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to, I don't know. I just feel like they used to be way more detailed. I could be wrong.
I'm not really noticing that. I remember them being a little bit more suited to them. But maybe that's because at the beginning they're so easy to come. I mean, they've used so many superhero powers now.
Well, they didn't.
Now, what power are you going to have?
They didn't even recognize Alyssa's.
Right.
They couldn't figure out that was Alyssa. You know what I mean? Like that was a hard one.
Oh, X knew that was Alyssa. He knew real hard that was Alyssa.
Yeah, it's okay. That's the fun part too. Is that like
But he gave kudos to Christian.
You know,
he gave kudos. He said, "All those black pups, you know, you got Alyssa, so that must have worked." So he gave him the kudos of the backflip. Sorry, X.
You still want him to win, David? Xavier is on Team Christian.
Yeah. Everyone has a fatal flaw.
Everyone has their thing. Well, I think that they will throw it to DF, maybe. That's a possibility. So we can have one HOH, like, oh my gosh.
It really depends. Does X trust Kyland the way that Kyland trusts X? Do you know what I'm saying?
I think if X had an opportunity to cut Kyland, he would.
See, I think so too.
He's playing to win. He always has been.
I kind of hope he would, honestly.
If you would have,
I think he's going to struggle with it. I think after tonight, he's going to struggle with it. If he would have asked me this 2 days ago, I said I definitely think Xavier would toss him for an easy, for sure win. But now I don't know if he will, because Kyland made this whole spectacle about loyalty and, you know, I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
X had
loyalty. He had a final two with Tiffany too.
Mm-hmm. And he had the option of putting somebody else up or Alyssa. He would have put Tiffany up in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He would have said, you know what? The 6 doesn't matter. All that matters is that a person of color wins.
Right.
You know,
and I kind of feel like he was the least excited. I mean, they did have to go wake him up to come and have their first moment all together in the same room.
Well, in fairness, you didn't know that was coming. It wasn't like that was planned.
I'm just joking. I'm kidding.
Do you think that maybe he's just more in it for the game at this point? He just really knew how to like switch it.
Yeah. I mean, the day of getting the final 6. Look, okay. Honestly, I can't say because I am not inside of another human's head. But from my perspective, and I feel like Xavier got on board with the idea of we're going to have a final 6 because there will be a black person who wins this game. We are going to be that season. And he went, yeah, okay, fine.
And he might have looked around.
What am I going to do? What is he going to do? Say, no, you guys can all play together, but I won't be a part of that alliance.
Yeah, but he looks at the other ones that are in that alliance and goes, yeah, I can beat most of them.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Like, okay, sure, because I'm going to beat y'all.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that early on, he probably wouldn't have perceived Tiffany as a threat.
No. And I'm not saying that it didn't become important to him. But I don't think that he was on the same level as, say, Tiffany about, like, we've got to make this happen. He was like, they came to me for an alliance, and of course I'm not going to say no.
Right.
Like, you know,
isn't that like the first rule of these shows? Never say no to an alliance.
Don't say no to an alliance.
You can't, or you're immediately a target to that person.
Right. And like I said, I am not questioning his faith and obligation to the 6 or what it stands for. But like you said, David, I truly believe that if he threw that much of a fit over Alyssa going home 30 minutes earlier than she was going to go home anyway, he given the opportunity, he would have hung on to Alyssa over Tiffany.
No question, which makes him a worse person but a better player.
Touche.
I mean, that's, you got to say that's what it is.
Well, you know what?
As far as that goes, yeah.
As far as
loyalty goes,
him cutting Kyland could be, like you guys said, about he made a big deal about loyalty, so maybe he won't cut him. But you also said Kyland won a lot of stuff early on.
Yep.
So does that help X's argument? I got rid of Kyland.
Here's the number one.
Yeah, maybe I wasn't loyal to Kyland, but I got rid of him, and before you could get rid of me.
If I was Xavier, I think my read would be that just to continue to listen to Kyland, you got to see an example of what I was talking about tonight. Ooh. Where they did. This is hours, Christy. This is like 4 hours at a time.
There was no sentence. It was.
He just kind of wanders, further and further and further away from his thought.
I mean, I've heard other public speakers speak that way before. When you don't know what they're talking about at the end. Right. That's just kind of how he is.
But people just tune him out. After 5 minutes, they don't listen to him.
Dude, Azah was trying not to fall asleep. Her eyes were like.
Right?
She was like.
Xavier's having to, he's got to sit there and he's got to listen to it. But here's the thing, Xavier doesn't get near as much of that Kyland at him as Kyland gives to everybody else, because Kyland is really easy. Does Kyland respect me? I don't know. Did he talk like that to you for more than 10 minutes? Because if he did, he doesn't respect you. Like, period. So he's a little bit easier on Xavier. But if I was Xavier, my read would be sitting and listening to see if Kyland ever puts together the powerful player that Tiffany was, and will he claim it? Because if he starts to recognize, oh crap, Tiffany, I'm glad I got her out. I'm glad I got her out because she was strong. Could you imagine if Tiffany was still here? If he started any of that, I would really start turning those wheels on. He can't make it to 2. He can't make it to final 2. Because I really think anybody that's in that jury house knows how hard Tiffany played. There's plenty of conversations, I am sure, at this point in time where they're all going, oh my God, Tiffany really had a handle on this. Kyland's the one that got her out. If Kyland owns that, that could be his win.
So that could be needs to get rid of him. See,
and he's going to. I believe
he's
going to find a yes.
If he does, I will be happy because at least it would be that he's
I think
turning it. Otherwise, it'll be super boring to the end.
Right. Well, it's not been very even tonight, which should have been exciting, was not.
It should have been. Well,
it was exciting to see Azah win.
Yeah, I was like, oh, wait a minute,
right?
Because I didn't know it wasn't live. So
it was exciting when Hannah picked the one true or false that nobody else picked.
Yes, she's gonna get ahead.
Right. And that was it.
And she did that little move. That was kind of slick that she did.
Yeah.
Like the reel it in move or whatever she did. It was cool. I can't do it, so I thought it was,
Right?
Was it the hustle? I don't know.
I also really enjoyed Tiffany trying to put her shoes on quickly. Like, why were your shoes on?
Was she in pajamas? Was that pajamas? Like, it looked
like a one piece? Like, I think
it was like but it looked like it had like cartoony things on it. It looked pajama-y.
It did look a little jammy-ish.
I mean, which is fine.
Snuggly. I mean, she was barefoot. I mean, she was just being comfy,
Honestly, like, I think that, conversations in my house, they've walked in and go, why are they dressed up so much on this night? I'm like, oh, because it's live. And they know, it's whatever. I would never dress up for the live fiction. I wouldn't even care. I don't care.
Well, this is what I love. I love that, like, there's so many casual viewers that don't see the 2 people on the block, right? One of them is in workout clothes.
Yes.
And the other one is wearing a maxi dress with high heels and her hair done beautifully. But we don't know which one's going home.
Ooh, no, they don't know. It's a mystery to them.
Nobody knows. It's like, guys.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So,
and how did Hannah have her bag packed so quickly?
Exactly. I think that well, you know what? No, she was on the block, remember?
Oh, that's true.
So she already had
That's true. Okay,
never mind. We can officially say there will be no blind side in this season.
No blind.
And no back doors. Or maybe there'll be a back door. That always gets a chuckle at my house too.
I know, like,
maybe had a back door and he'd be so happy.
Be like, yes.
Can you say that?
Sure, he would. Any kind of attention.
Especially if it was X.
I thought it was so funny when they were talking about going to Vegas and they were making fun of him all the other people they'd take instead of him. And he was really mad. What? I'm Mr. Vegas. I'm fun guy.
That was so funny. Yeah, that was good. I wish that they had, like, I can't, because we are, we're a no foul language, carefully editing ourselves in this show, but I wish so much I could tell you the string of obscenities that Tiffany threw at Kyland after he put her on the block. It was great.
Good.
And the awesome thing about Tiffany is she can throw out all of those things and be smiling and laughing like the whole time she's doing it. So it doesn't come across as being like, I'm just being mean. Like, it's like, I am really like ribbing it in, but it's supposed to be funny.
Or you just unleash on him and then you go, ha ha, you got me.
You got me.
Ooh,
you so
right?
and so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. It was a weird week and it was really depressing. The last shot of Tiffany on the live feeds was pretty cool, actually. Like the very last shot of her on the live feeds was her standing in front of the memory wall. But she was like silhouetted because the lights were down. It was pretty cool. I'm like, I'm gonna cry.
She'll be back. I think she'll be back. If they, I think she could definitely be back. She'd need to switch some stuff up because, well, now that there's the first, Black winner of Big Brother, she doesn't have to play that game again.
Well, I think that Kyland, that's part of Kyland's goal or perceived future in his mind that and if you haven't noticed, if you haven't picked this up on your own, he is trying, and he talks about it all the time, he is trying to play the Derek Cody game with Xavier. He's always talking about the Derek Cody game. He feels like if he plays this Derek Cody game, then he will get to come back and play again. And that's a big part of why.
But you're playing the game right now. See, that's the thing that makes me so infuriated. You're on the show right now.
Like, you want to know who the actual best, like, the best people are at this game are the ones that are like, I'm playing the game right this minute and I'm going to win.
Right. So it makes me super disappointed that you're saying Oz's like, I'm okay with 5th place or I'm okay with 4th place. No. Why?
I don't like it. It makes me so mad that she's that way too because I like Ozza.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like her and I think she is a sweet girl and I don't think she is a dumb girl. She's I don't know. I don't know what it is. She
doesn't have that fire in her that she wants.
I think that she's a little, I don't know what word I want to use because I don't want to use something that seems, because I don't mean it necessarily in an offensive way, but I do think that she still is in a place where she kind of just follows what the men give her directions to do.
Maybe she's just not very competitive. Oh, but no, you're right. You might be onto something. And that can be, a lot of people can have those sorts of ideas already just based on upbringing or whatever.
Exactly. That's what
that could just be part of your personality.
I don't mean anything like bleh about it. I just think she's just easier to lean towards them and their direction and be more loyal.
That feels comfortable for her.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. Like she wants to be protected or she wants to be, whatever, taken care of. And whatever, more power to her. But maybe then Big Brother's not an awesome game for you to play.
But for real, guys, who would have thought that Frenchie would have made a better all-girls alliance than we had at the end?
Freaking French kisses.
I see, you talk about cast members that might come back. I think there's 4.
Claire?
No.
Oh, I think Claire.
No way.
Sarah Beth.
No. Derek X.
Derek X, yep.
For sure.
Ding, 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 yep.
Tiffany, absolutely. Hannah and Xavier. Yep. That's the 4 you'll see again.
I don't think Xavier will come back.
And maybe he won't, but
suspicion.
he's gonna have such a commanding win for an all-star season or an all-winners season.
I am with you on all of it, but I would flip X for Claire. Claire wasn't even supposed to be here this year. Can we also just remember that one more time? She was not picked to be here this year. She got here because someone had a false COVID test. And look how far she went.
Can we also remember she was my choice for the final 2, her and X?
Yep.
And I had her the final 2 alive, I think.
I had her and Hannah,
guys.
Because you had Frenchie, right?
I had Frenchie at first, but after week 1, I was like, we're taking him away. And we're replacing him with Tiffany after week 1. But neither of us. Mine was Tiffany and Claire. Tiffany and Claire. Mm-hmm.
And you weren't. Did you pick 2, Christy?
Yeah, mine were going to be my 2 favorite were Claire and Hannah, because I thought they were going to both be like pretty smart, under the radar,
Well, I will say this.
So I guess, David, that means you win.
You win, yeah.
Yes, I won something.
You're the only person who has somebody still there.
If I pick a winner in any sort of like reality competition, it doesn't matter who it's going to be.
They lose.
If I go, I like that person the best. They're not.
That's usually my MO too.
Yeah. Well, because let's face it.
Like when Ian won, that was so exciting for me because he was my favorite from day 1. I wanted.
And who would have thunk it?
Oh, that Ian clip was awesome too. By the way,
I love Brittany, but I knew Brittany wasn't going to win.
Yeah.
I've already seen Brittany play. I knew she wasn't going to win, but I do love her. But Ian was my number 1 pick, and he was the first person in any like reality competition, Survivor, Big Brother, anything
that you picked
ever
and
won. And then the following, right after that, was the Survivor that Cochran won, and I picked him, and I was like, yes. I was like, it was the year of the like I actually won something, and
it was like year of the nerd too, right? Or the awkward, or the out,
That's when the Cardinals started trading all my favorite players. Like it's been downhill ever since.
I think the Cubs won the World Series soon after that.
Yeah. It's bloop, bloop, bloop.
Got to point that out.
I thought that would have been the curse was lifted from the Red Sox.
Yeah, I remember that too. But I didn't care. Good for them.
The only curse left, I think, is what, Minnesota and San Diego, right?
Minnesota is a curse. Don't love that.
Because Minnesota's never won a World Series, have they?
The Twins?
Yeah.
The Twins? Yeah, the Twins have won.
They've won too.
Twins beat the Cardinals.
Okay, then maybe it's the Padres, or maybe I'm just making it up.
Well, we wouldn't want to.
Maybe the Chargers have never won a Super Bowl, so I give Jack a hard time about it.
Not since the days of Kirby Puckett, though. There you go. There's my sports ball talk. You can tell that my sports is Big Brother and Survivor. That's my sports.
That's my sports.
I like baseball. Well, it's all right. I follow my team. That's it.
Speaking of, just to let everybody know, we are going to be podcasting about Survivor this year. So once we'll have to do some juggling that week of the finale and the premiere. But we'll figure it out. But we'll be here to talk about that.
We should put the link to the Survivor game up in the show notes too. So
we should.
Want to join it?
We'll start
I'm gonna fashion some sort of trophy.
What a fantasy league. There we go.
Jeez. Yeah, Fantasy Survivor.
You're gonna make a trophy?
Or something, yeah, that we can send around.
Really? The Chambry shirt. That'd be a
something
good one.
Fancy.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. But yeah, we put together kind of a fantasy pick. Everyone goes. You get to pick who you think's gonna go home, who you think's gonna win, who you think's gonna. It's all kinds of stuff. They ask all kinds of bizarro questions. Will someone find an idol this week? Will that sort of thing? Will anybody be evac'd this week?
That kind of thing.
Yes or no?
So
yeah.
One last thing is I kind of messaged you guys about it that I was a little bit bummed out. I mean, my hopes were sitting at 2%, but this same week in Canada's Big Brother, Big Brother Canada, they did a double eviction and then scheduled for a second double eviction the following week. Okay. But then they did the double eviction the following week. But when the person got voted off, they walked out the door and there was someone there holding a big sign that said, "Shh, you're still in the game." And they took the last evictee and this evictee, and they got to battle for coming back in. So they never left the soundstage. And I was like, ooh, maybe, just maybe.
You were thinking that when? Yesterday?
My son was convinced that that's what the second hour was. And then when they spent 30 minutes at the jury house, he was like, no.
Nope, not going to happen. I know. I was pretty bummed out about it because I really did with that much time for them to burn and... Nope. Drafts.
Well, and the way that they're saying how the show is being very predictable these last couple of weeks and how things are just kind of rolling out, it would have done something to shake things up. Because by evicting these two ladies tonight, they really showed their cards. And if one of them got back in, hello, look, we just said the thing and the thing happened. So let's go. And maybe
exactly.
I don't know if that would have reached Azza. I don't know what she's thinking. She's just thinking that man's cute. That's all she's thinking.
Yeah, she's lost in that man's cute. But here's I said it before when we started tonight. I know that I'm gonna sleep better tonight than she is. I just know that. I think that there was some massive realization in those eyes to me. I don't know about you, but I felt things when I saw her there at the end. It's like
you think she didn't think Hannah was going home?
I don't know if she thought Hannah was going to go home or not. I don't necessarily think that it was that. I think that the realization of oh my God, it's just me and these three guys in this house. And I just sent this girl out. And how is that going to look out in public? And oh my God, there's no way I'm making it to the end now. And maybe I could have made it to the end. I did win in HOH. Maybe I could have. I think there's all of this going on. because those eyes looked stressed out.
The look on
Stress.
Hannah's face there at the end.
Oh,
You mentioned it earlier, Christy.
heartbreak.
And it was like once Kylan used the veto, just she knew, and it just the realization hit her, and her whole expression changed. And it's the first time I felt like she looked really young.
Yes,
She did.
You know what I'm saying? Because I
because her confidence was gone, right?
So and
she
looked like a teenager in that moment.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, it was sad.
And even what she said, to the guys was so like real. You're like, just please keep me because I want to stay and I want to compete.
Like, don't push me out of this game. Like, I want this. Yep.
Yeah. But it was hard to watch.
Guess what? Because they don't care about the best competitors, guys.
Well, Kylan cried.
He should, because he had a final 2 with her, and she's my little sister, and blah blah blah, and loyalty.
And good for Hannah for using her last name as a nickname, because now everybody knows her first and last name. You don't have to go, what was their last name? No, we know.
That's true.
Hannah Chada. Whoop, whoop.
Yep. Good points.
I think she goes by that, though. I think I read somewhere on the feeds that's what like her friends and family call her.
No, that's good.
She goes by that because she doesn't like her first name, but she thought that she wasn't allowed to use her last name as her first name, and
really
then she realized, like,
rock star.
Yeah, because that's her birth name.
Yeah.
But Hannah didn't play sports or anything, did she? Because sometimes kids pick that up in sports.
Right.
She looks like she'd play soccer or something.
Yeah.
See, and I wonder if that's it, because when you're playing sports, a lot of times, like I know on my
your last name's on the back.
Yeah, and everybody in the team, because usually nowadays, how many Hannahs do you think there were?
Right.
Oh,
right.
Lots.
Correct. So it would be very easy.
Hannah
so
number 8,
get used to people calling you. Do what?
Exactly.
Hannah number 8, you're in the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Like when my kids would be in elementary school, like really little, and they'd come home, they were like, "Oh, I was talking to da-da-da," and I'm like, "Which one was that?" "Oh, Hannah B, not Hannah C." "Oh, okay."
My second youngest sister is a Hannah.
Is she?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's not a bad name. I'm sorry that
she's the only non-J sibling that I have out of 6.
Oh, she's the oddball.
You have 6 siblings.
I do.
Where do you fit? You're in the middle somewhere.
The top.
You're the oldest?
Number 1. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, there's a 19-year difference between me and the youngest.
Oh, I thought there was a lot of years between me and my youngest, but it's only 16 years. So.
Yep, 19 years, which is, it's really funny because, like, that makes for lots of interesting dynamics and conversations.
You're like a second mom.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Kind of hard to have that peer thing with somebody that literally could be your kid.
Yeah. Like you can't drink yet. Shh. Like, you don't know things.
All right. Well, I guess we'll be here next week talking about this week. And will Azza be able to?
We'll be here next week talking about how we saw Azza's eviction coming from miles away.
Well, you know what? She just won HOH. Let's all just say a little prayer or whatever we do. Send some good vibes out there. Maybe she'll win a veto.
But you know what? She will get a letter from home. She'll get to see pictures of her family.
She will. Maybe that'll give her some.
Yeah, she'll get her preferred snacks, probably her favorite pair of pajamas from home. Something
she'll have her 102 cousins all telling her they're rooting for her.
Yep.
So,
maybe she needs that. Maybe that'll make the difference. She's capable of winning a competition.
Just so that we can see something. Or that they throw it in
if they threw it to Derek X, is there a shot that he?
They can't throw to Derek X, but they can throw to Derek F.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just joking.
But is there a chance he puts both of them up because he won't put Azza up?
No, 0.
He'll cry about it. He'll be like, "I'm so sorry, Azza. I have to do it because."
But if I put those guys up, they're not taking me to Vegas.
That would be the baller move right there.
Yep.
And then if they win the veto, one of them's out.
Yeah.
Well,
there's none of that happening here. There's none of that.
It would be the real fighter champion thing to do, wouldn't it?
Because
I'm pretty sure his dad didn't let Muhammad Ali win.
This would be the great time for him to have center stage, and be like, let me give you guys some information. I'm going to let you in on some information. My father is, and then he'd go off about that. And he's like, and I'm sorry, because in family tradition, I've got to give you the old pow pow and you're nominated.
Boom.
Something.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Oh, Big Brother gods, help us.
Give us something at least. Like, he doesn't have to win.
That would be at least interesting.
Yes. Because then they'd be like, what? And they'd be like, listen, my dad beat Muhammad Ali and I'm going to beat you too. Boom.
Exactly. He took down the champion. I'm taking down this champion.
I think he both won and lost to Muhammad Ali.
Yes.
Right. But still, it doesn't matter if you lost him out. Everybody lost Muhammad Ali.
He might have lost twice.
Yeah, but see, oh my God, see, this makes a perfect.
I don't know, it just doesn't even matter because he
Because-
won at least once.
Because see, then this is what we do, right? So he nominates both of them. Kylan goes home. Then it comes down to Xavier and Ozzy, and let's say Xavier wins, and he's got to pick who he's going to take. Then his return speech to Big D could be just like Muhammad Ali.
Down
He
goes
fought back.
Frazier. Down goes Frazier.
Down goes Frazier.
That was Howard Cosell.
Yeah. I could hear it in my head. That's awesome.
You guys, we could script these wins. I'm just telling
Gosh,
you.
And
You know what?
Xavier knows that quote too.
Yes, of course.
Who
Like
wouldn't?
that's
I
a
mean-
big deal. I mean, if you're into like any sort of sports or boxing or like everyone knows that.
And he's a cultural icon for people, for African Americans at the time because of, that's like, he's a legend.
There's so
Just
much
all the way
here.
around. Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
so much
there you
here.
go.
They could do so much with this.
Come on, Big Brother.
Well, if they don't, everybody just
We need
remember that
we need
did
a
it for
wall
you.
screamer or a plane. There hasn't been a single
I
one
know.
this year, right?
Mm-mm,
Nothing?
mm-mm. I feel like they got people out there with like,
even put out an offensive tweet. I mean,
well, because it's funny because okay, this is his
it's a
like,
lying mirror.
well, that's what he keeps saying. He's like, this is just like boring, cut and dry. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. He's like, not to like minimize what they did. That's awesome, but like,
It's-
I mean, at the
It
very
it
first
feels
week,
good, but it's boring.
yeah, in the very first week, Dick was like,
No.
it's going to be Xavier or Kylan.
You know, we
Pick the
didn't
winner
mention
now.
what the true Big Brother Queen posted on Twitter. I sent it to Jamie Joe. I think to you too, Christy.
Janelle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Janelle said, yeah.
Yeah, and she basically said putting Claire up ended her game.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know
She
what?
understood why she did it, but she also said, I understand why
I-
she did it, but she kissed her game goodbye.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. I still think, honestly, if you play it the other way and let's say lets Claire stay, I think they freaking take her out anyway the next
This
week.
is-
Well,
You know what I mean?
with Xavier out of the house,
Mhm.
Kylan becomes a complete unknown at that point. You don't know what that guy's going to do.
No, I think the rest of the cookout
and I
will
think
take
he
her out.
aligns over with Tiff then.
I don't know. I think
I
if
think
she
he
would have
would've
sent
done-
X home, it would have been Ozzy would have been mad at her because she broke the cookout. Like Ozzy would have been big on that. Dee would not have liked it at all.
No, he would have joined in just to have
He
something to
wouldn't. She
complain
wouldn't
about
have
with
been
Tiffany.
6 though.
I think.
Well, and here's
I don't know.
the
She might
thing-
not even have made it to 6.
But to Tiffany, it wasn't even about, can I make it one more move, one bit closer? What is going to happen to me when I walk out of this house?
Correct.
She
And
knows what the
Yeah.
perception would be out of the house.
Yeah,
and
it
I
would
think that
be-
was more important to her than
well, it would have
But I-
instantly made her the villain
honestly-
to a lot of people.
I don't think the symbolism of the 6 is anywhere near the symbolism of the 1. The one who
Right.
wins.
But I look at it like this. Is this the same thing I said yesterday? I think that their fatal flaw as far as for Tiffany, or whereas some of this is going right now, is maybe they should have made a promise.
To
Maybe
8 or
not
something.
final 6. Maybe they should have made it to jury.
Or
Yes.
to 8.
You know?
Yes.
Or, you
Right.
know, so that at that point we have enough members of the jury. We ensure we get what we want.
Right. But
Yeah,
also,
they get what they want, but they also have a chance to play their personal games
Yeah.
too.
right. Right.
So
But I think they only said 6 because they had 6. And then that's just the way it was going to be. I mean, if they would have had 4, if they would have had 8, it would have been whatever number of people they had in that group. We're going to play to this. It's the same thing. If you make an alliance in any of these games and there's 3 of you or 4 of you or 8 of you, you are always going to say, we're final 8, we're final 4. And then after that, we're every man for themselves, you know?
Yeah, but how many times have you seen that? And then somebody on the alliance knows who's going to win, and they cut them.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. But I think that when you've got look at I mean, geez, like I'm just Big Brother itself. You look at some of the bigger, like more popular. I'm trying to think of one that makes a good comparison. Well, Brigade always gets compared, but it does work because they cut Matt.
Right. The
So
architect of it, right?
Totally relied on each other. Like they were honest, they were loyal to each other. But then the person who created the alliance was the first one cut.
Same with this case.
Same with this. And I think that's because when that's the person who's kind of setting it all together at the beginning, kind of the mastermind, then everybody is hip to the fact that they're a mastermind.
Because that's a huge thing to put on your resume.
Well, but you also don't know what else they got. You know, they've been planning for this. They've got something set up. We need to get rid of them.
Yeah, I didn't think of this. They thought of this. Their brain thinks in ways that I can't think, and that makes them a threat.
And if that's why the guys were saying they need to get rid of Tiffany, you could have respected them for that.
But I feel like X is the only one who was really thinking post-Final Six. I think they were all focused on Final Six, and he was focused on winning the game.
I think you could be partially right on that.
Because none of them seem to have a plan.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Tiffany really thought that she was going to have Kyland and Hannah. Like, I think she thought that was solid, but...
That's why bleep you, Kyland.
But again, you know, I look at it, this is another thing that I'm like, maybe Tiffany in hindsight would probably notice this. She had her targets on Sarah Beth so tight, so quickly, and we all said it. I think there's just maybe a smidge of jealousy in this round of who she's trying to go
after all the canoodling that went on afterwards.
Right, and clearly
correct. And then that last night she wouldn't even go up there. So
yeah. So I think that
you're not going to keep me.
I think that made her a little bit. I think that if she hadn't been attracted to Kyland, she could have seen him clearly. But much like Azah, I think she got a little misty in there.
No, Tiffany, no. No. Nope.
And I don't like it. I don't like it.
She can do better. She can do better.
Yeah, she can, for sure. And she's going to look at that and go, yep, Big Brother got
I mean, she literally draws blood for a living.
Yep. Did you hear the joke too? Like when they were going over, like in the jury segment, and they were talking about Xavier, and they're like, and she's like, he doesn't even know what a mint julep is.
Yeah, I get it.
Come up.
He's definitely not a bartender.
I bet you 90% of bartenders in the world don't know what a mint julep is.
So funny.
Do you know how many times I've been out and you order something and they have to ask you what's in it?
Yeah.
Like, sure. I mean, I get it. It's for some people it's a career, but for some people it's.
But who?
I've been doing it for a couple of years. Right. Even if you could be 2 or 3 years bartending and no one.
I'd like a Harvey Wallbanger, please.
Like, where's
it's like a drink no one drinks.
He'd be like, I'm not working the Kentucky Derby. Hello.
That's what I mean. I feel like that's reserved for like the Kentucky Derby and like stuffy like politicians in Louisiana via
like really
1860s. Like
a certain like country club type of.
Yeah, like George Wallace could have served mint juleps.
Yes. Yeah.
He's like, I'm not making no mint juleps.
Inherently racist, but
right. Well, I mean,
you know,
allegedly.
Yeah, these kids, these crazy kids. Anyway. What do they know?
All right. Well, I guess that's it for us tonight. We will be back next week again to run everything down. And everybody say your prayers. Big Brother Gods. Maybe something will happen.
And Stephen C.
Yeah, Stephen C.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.